Bhagavāraham sammasambuddho Svādhātōyena bhagavata dhammo Supatipanno yassa bhagavato sāvaka sangho Dhammayam bhagavantam saramam sasanam Ime satare adarahan harotite abhikuchayama Sadhuno bhante bhagava sunjira parinivototi pajima janatanu gamba manasa ime sakare dugata panaka Nabute patitannato ammadandi garata etaya sukaya aram samma sambuddho bhagavan buddham bhagavantam abhivademi Swakato bhagavata dhammo dhamman namasami Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho sangham namami Undayam bodhasa bhagavato bhagavatanamakarangaro mase Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa
So, very good, very nice to see everyone here again. Now, everyone, please, online, everyone here in person, please sit up well, good posture, nice straight back, body and mind alert. And cameras on, please. And you close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, you leave behind all that you've been doing and thinking about. And you remind yourselves that all you ever really have is now, right now. And you must try to keep your attention, at least throughout this evening, here and now. And we commence, as usual, by bringing to mind the Buddha, recollecting his perfect mind, a mind that was absolutely clear of any kind of defilement or corruption, and even more than that, far away, far distant from anything of that kind. It was a mind, too, of infinite compassion. A wonderful being, perfect in knowledge and conduct. Now remember, when you are reminded of the Buddha, when you see a Buddha Rupa or a picture, be inspired. Be inspired to develop your mind, cultivate your mind, cleanse your mind of all greed, hatred, and delusion, and free yourselves from all suffering. And remember to approach this and really everything you do with a mind of loving kindness. And especially remember to be kind to yourselves, to care for yourself, to appreciate and encourage your good qualities, and to be accepting of yourself. And likewise, be kind to others, care for them too, and appreciate their good qualities, and accept them. Now we'll take another moment or two to just remember the reality of our human condition. As we live this life, of course, time is passing. And that means that with every second, every moment, we are getting older. It's a one-way street, and there's no turning back. Life hath but one direction, and time's its only measure. And during that time, we can become unwell, very keep your mind following each in-breath and each out-breath, and remain absolutely still. Now remember, do your best to follow your breath. Be aware of your breath wherever it's clearest to you. But if you notice that your mind has wandered, then as soon as you're aware of that, establish mindfulness. Know what is happening. Attend. If any feeling arises, any desire to move or to fidget or to do anything, don't respond. Just attend. Just know what's happening to you, what you're experiencing, and let it go. And find the breath again. and so on. So please, everyone, maintain your very still, very excellent sitting posture. And during the next few minutes, while I'm talking, all you need to do, all you have to do, is to listen. And to remember to make listening your practice, at least for this short time we're together. I'm sorry we lost communication at the beginning. A sudden power cut, just a few seconds or a minute or two, but there it is, these things happen. And we live in an unsatisfactory world. And especially in remote places like this, we're subject to these difficulties occasionally. But still we have a great deal to be thankful for. And we should remember that. Even when we are frustrated and a bit fed up by things like a power cut, we have a great deal that helps us and enables us to live a relatively comfortable and convenient life. And I thought of that especially yesterday when we had an event here to celebrate 40 years of the Forest Hermitage. And I was pleased to see people here who had been around when we began. That's a tribute to them too, for their lasting interest and support. And without support through these years, we wouldn't still be here. I have a great deal to be thankful for, and I thank you all who contribute to maintaining this place and keeping alive the light of the Dharma that we have done our best to shine here. "40 years is a tribute to the staying power of many of you. And we have to remember this, that it's an important part of our practice to do our best to keep going. It's very easy to give up and to stop. And unfortunately, that's what some people do. But you must try to be aware of that tendency and to resist it. To be determined, to bring energy into your life and your practice. Because what you're doing when you cultivate the Buddha's way is very important. It's very important for you because it leads to your peace and happiness. It contributes to a much better life for you. And it's important for those with whom you relate. Because if you're cultivating the Buddha's way, if you are developing this extraordinary art of living, then you're a much easier person to be with. And that's a benefit to other people. We do live with others, we do depend on others, and we do have to relate one with another. And it's better if we can do that in a decent and kind and reasonable way. We live in an unsatisfactory world. And the source of this unsatisfactoriness really and truly is within us. Of course, we're more accustomed to blaming what goes on outside, the power cut, the nuisance of a neighbour or whatever. But the difficulty that we have with those various things that happen to frustrate us is really coming from within us. And really and truly, we have a choice. We may not realize it sometimes, but we can choose whether to be frustrated and angry and ring up and make our complaints, or to accept that this is the way things are. And our unhappiness with that problem really is our business. And the source of it is actually within our mind. Because, of course, we would want something different. And that's the trouble. We're always wanting something to suit ourselves. We want pleasure, we want convenience, and we want to be. When the Buddha spoke about the immediate cause of our suffering and named it as desire, he referred to the desire for pleasure and the desire to be and the desire not to be. Well, mostly we're affected by the desire for pleasure. We can see that very clearly. But there is also the desire to be, this constant need to be expressing ourselves. People refer to it as ego. And of course, some of us are more egocentric and more inclined to want to impose ourselves than others. But there it is, that is what we're inclined to do. Self, the sense of self, is very strong within us, and the urge to be is prominent for all of us. Our practice, the practice we've been doing this evening, is first and foremost to quieten our minds. And within a long training, we have to do our best to cultivate a concentrated mind. There's no getting away from it. Concentration is important. And from time to time, we have to exercise our minds again in concentration. It's rather like, at least I tend to compare it to, a musician who does his scales every day, an actor who does his voice exercises, a dancer at the bar. You have to keep yourselves fit and your mind reasonably concentrated, sharp and still. Because this is our instrument in our practice. And we have to be able to use it well. Eventually to observe, to pay attention and to watch ourselves. And to be able to watch ourselves in as dispassionate a fashion as we can. Then we can begin to see the nature of our experiences. When I tell you to remain still, and not to respond to whatever might happen, of course, your mind might be all over the place. Pay attention to that. If it's some discomfort that takes your mind away, pay attention to that. Just attend. You don't have to do anything but just attend. And what you do, what you discover rather, when you attend or when you observe, is eventually the true nature of things. I've often thought that if you want to understand practically anything, the thing to do is not to read about it, but to watch it. To just watch it. Any creature, any plant, any experience. Just watch it. And gradually you will become aware of the nature of that thing. And when you watch yourself, you become aware of the nature of your being. And you can't help but see, you can't help but notice that whatever your experience is changing, it's impermanent. Nothing stays the same. And furthermore, you become, at times, very acutely aware of the unsatisfactory nature of your being. When the Buddha gave his second major discourse, the Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, he pointed out to the monks, those first 5, that of course, if things were impermanent, he asked them to begin with about each of the khandhas: form, feeling, perception, volitional activities and consciousness, if they were permanent or impermanent. And of course they had to say impermanent. Look at your body. Your body does not stay the same. It changes and ages. It gets older. It's not the same as it once was. So if things change, the Buddha said, can you really think that those things are satisfactory? Of course not. If a thing is changing, you can't keep it, you can't hold on to it. Of course it's not satisfactory. Of course it's going to bring suffering and difficulty to you. And so then the Buddha said, can you say of any of that, that it's you? Can you say, this is me, this is mine, this is what I am? All this, when you simply watch yourself, becomes available to you. But to watch yourself well, you have to train your mind to be still and sharp. So that's what we do. That's what we try to do. It's not a complicated thing at all. Learning to attend, to pay attention. Cultivating a mind that's capable of doing that. Cultivating a lifestyle which supports it. Which means, of course, cultivating the way that you speak and act, cultivating the way that you think, caring for yourself, caring for your mind, guarding your mind. This is a most precious thing. So do look after it, exercise it, develop it, and understand yourself. And that's enough from me for tonight. So we'll just sit for another moment or two. And in these closing moments, please focus your minds on metta, on loving kindness. May you and all beings be well and happy. May you and all beings be free from all suffering. May you and all beings realize for yourselves the secure peace of Nibbana. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swagato Bhagavanta Dhammo Dhammang Namassami Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. So thank you all very much for coming. Very good to see you all. I hope you have a good week and we'll meet again soon. Good night.